Hey, this is Kate. I'm a forensic psychologist and crisis clinician, and I collect stories. Everything from true crime to trauma to parenthood. There's a lot more in common between depression and sociopathy, or between serial killers and podcasters, than you might think. Are you sure you really want to know? This is Ignorance Was Bliss at iwbpodcast.com and IWB Podcast on social media.
Hello, everybody. This is Megan.
And this is Alana.
And welcome to Tea Time Crimes. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm fine. We've got a little bit of a different setup today, so praying to the tech gods that it works out because, you know, I've been having a tough tech time in general.
Shocking.
I mean, more than normal. My work computer, the space bar doesn't work anymore, so everything's just a hashtag.
Okay. Really need to fix that.
Well, I got a new one and I replaced it. Well, I didn't, Brad did, and it still doesn't work. And so I have to in order for me to create a space, I have to get bullseye precision and 10 times the strength right in the middle of the space bar. So it's like doodle-doosh, doodle-doosh.
That's ridiculous.
It's a problem because I also have the short thumbs.
Oh yeah, you do.
So right, so it's challenging, and I've just. I'm doing my best. Ironically, the space bar and the delete key are sticky.
Okay.
It's the perfect storm over there. And my coworkers have to get sick. They literally just get long slacks that are any update on the Anderson account, one word.
I wouldn't even read it.
Anderson account is something I made up a decade ago, and I still talk about it. It's not real. I'm not giving out client information.
Okay, are you taking care of the Anderson account? I need you to get a new keyboard, or is it a software problem that it's not reading properly?
I got a Bluetooth keyboard, but it won't sit on top of.
And where do you put it?
Yeah, nowhere. It won't. Well, this was Brad's idea. It won't sit on top of my laptop without hitting the shift key constantly. So that doesn't work. So then I had to put it to the side, but then I have the trackpad. It's a real debacle.
You don't have a monitor. You don't have a normal work from home setup.
No, I have a laptop because I like to work on the couch.
Yeah, but so you don't have monitors because
no, just
you
a laptop.
Put your laptop over here, up away, and then you have your keyboard down here, and you go deep, 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 deep.
No, yeah. I don't want a mouse because I need to be able. I need to be mobile.
I don't know how you do that. I mean, I could always grab my laptop and roam around, but I love my two monitors.
I don't like that. I know everybody always says that. Everybody else has it, but I need my compact laptop so I can just move around the house. I need to be in different positions.
You're a nutter butter.
I know, but it's probably time. Basically, my coworker the other day was like, "I'm just going to buy you a computer and send it to you, okay?" I was like, "I think we might be approaching that." She's sick of getting my slacks that make no sense.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'd be like, I'm giving up.
But anyway, Grandma's alive and well. What's new with you? Baby squirrels? What's going on there?
Baby squirrels. They're getting bigger. Their eyes are opening. So they're roaming around. Well, in their enclosure. Drinking the milk. Getting more milk. All the things.
Are they affectionate?
They're snuggly, I guess. It's really not at this age. They're too young. Peanut, the one that we had for a while last time, knew Chris. She would get really excited when she saw him and jump directly to him. When he would go visit her in her outdoor enclosure at the rescue, the actual rescue lady, Peanut wouldn't come see, but she would come see Chris.
Yeah, F you, rescue lady.
Yeah.
Thanks for saving my life.
Yeah, exactly. That's how Chris feels about Bridge Kitty, because Bridge Kitty always snuggles with me and he's like, I'm just your Lord and Savior over here. Just saved you from a bridge.
Well, you've put in some time with Bridge Kitty.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it's just funny. Like, he actually did a very, very dangerous thing and saved his life.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Got him.
Got him. All right. What kind of tea do you have for today?
So, I want to admit something. I screwed up. I should have had this on our first 2023 episode because it's...
Oh, is this eating you alive that you've messed up the...
Yes, it's really upsetting. I thought about it and then I did not think about it
at
the appropriate time again.
Oh, no.
But it's a New Year's tea.
Oh, no.
And I was like, should I just wait another 9 months?
You look at the countdown, you're like, can I make it 300 more days? I might be able to.
I was
because
like, this is an interesting one. I want to try it. And so,
gosh, this is devastating to a woman who has to burn through her seasonal candles on time or she gets anxious.
Luckily, all my luckily, the winter candle is just burning out right now. So we're perfect timing because it's just before spring. And
at least something's going right in your life.
Yes. One thing.
Yeah.
But the other candle you gave me is not seasonal. So that's actually a stress relief.
I aim to please. I was like, I'm going to get an all seasons candle, like all season tires.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is a floral and fruity New Year green tea. I could read it in French, but
please do.
Know how that goes.
No, that's my favorite.
All right, try this translation. Thé vert du Noël en fleurs et fruité.
Perfect. I don't know what's better, your pronunciation or the accent you flourish it with. I like to think that somebody in actual France is listening and just like, what was just said? Nobody knows.
Yeah, nobody knows. Hey, what about Canada? We have more Canadian listeners than French.
There's lots of
listeners.
countries that actually speak French, but
in Africa too. There's loads.
100 pardons. Anybody who speaks French, I hope you understood that beautiful translation. Okay, continue.
And you know what's just interesting? That raisin means grape in French.
Well, I mean, we probably then stole that idea when we named raisins,
I guess, yeah. Okay, let me describe this for you. A gourmet green tea that blends sweet rose and fresh grape notes. The N31 is a delicious way to celebrate.
N31?
That's what it's actually called, but I did not get that from the cover of this. Look, I
is
see
it a
31,
vaccination?
But where's the N?
I don't. I'm confused by the name. That's a beautiful tea bag. Can y'all see it? Yeah.
Oh, maybe like New Year 31 December.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was thinking. Is the last
it's
day of
N degrees. There's a degrees sign right after the N, and then the 31. N degree 31.
I don't think you have to say degrees with an accent. I could be wrong, but
oh boy. So, okay. As I was carrying it into the studio, which is also my office, it kind of smells like cough syrup, and I'm dreading it. Also, want to know something weird?
Yep.
Chris likes the taste of cough syrup. If he can choose between getting NyQuil liquid and NyQuil tablets, he gets the liquid, and I hate it when he does it.
No, that makes sense.
No.
I can understand how some people like the taste of it.
It's so gross.
Like, I love the taste of calcium chewables.
The orange ones?
I don't know, the chalky ones. But anyway, I don't like green tea, so already I'm out. But I want to hear your take on this.
I didn't know that. There's so many kinds of green tea. Maybe we could get through this.
And they're all bad.
No. You're out your mind.
I don't like tea unless I can put milk in it.
I guess that doesn't do much.
You want me to put milk in my green tea and really blow
your mind? No, I don't want you to do that. Okay.
All right. Taste your cough syrup.
We're smelling, and it smells like cough syrup. Okay.
Yep.
Now we're tasting it.
Yep. That face says it all.
No. It tastes like cough syrup.
Do you like it to the nth degree?
I don't. Oh.
What makes it taste like cough syrup? The grapes?
I'm guessing
Probably.
like maybe the floral kiss with the grape.
Yeah, anytime fruit makes out with green tea, it's not a good thing.
No, but that's not true.
Okay, well, I'm
think-
trying to support you here. You're arguing with yourself. Fine, I don't know.
That's
It's all
what I
shit.
do.
It's all good. I don't know.
Ugh.
Second sip was just as good.
That's no. I mean, at least it doesn't linger. Like it dives in real quick and you never see it again. It's a real quick, obviously a light body, but it's way too cough syrup heavy. It's not my favorite. I would give it a Robitussin thumbs down.
Oh, I was in my head, I thought medicinal thumbs down. I was so close. Robitussin thumbs down. No offense to Robitussin.
No, you do a good job, but I don't like the taste of you, which is okay.
Also, Robitussin has like a different purpose in life, right? They're like, hey, we're going to make you not feel terrible.
Exactly. And
we're not
appreciate
here for
that.
the taste game, you know?
No.
Whereas
I
the
don't
tea
mind.
is here for the taste.
Oh, no, it's sticky. It's sticky in the mouth after. It's really clinging on. I'm like, please love me.
Wow, it's
But
desperate.
I won't. Yeah,
it's like you when you
very
ask for a review.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe Chris will like it.
Yeah, actually, he probably will love it.
Yeah, make him a cup. All right, well, thumbs down.
Thumbs
Sorry.
down.
You ready for today?
No, not if you're giggling like that.
I'm not going to earmuff you for the gory detail because it is pertinent to the case, and you're going to need to know about it.
You're pertinent to the case.
That's true. I am. If I wasn't here, podcast over right now.
Yeah,
we've done the tea review. That's it.
That's it. This is now a tea podcast. I'm taking over.
Your rise to power.
That's my dream.
I feel like you would hate that.
I wouldn't want to be the star.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it alone either. Okay. All right. So ready? Japan.
I should have done a fucking Japanese tea.
I thought you might instinctively, and then
you
when
need
you
to tell me the countries. Isn't that fair?
No,
I don't guess what's happening.
I don't like telling you anything because then you just obsess about it and you come in guns blazing with something that's not. It's just better when you're in the dark.
No.
So Japan, 1936. 30-year-old Sada Abe is on the run.
We're getting ready for World War II.
Oh, Jesus. We're 1 second in. Cool it. Okay, so distraught at the reality that her lover needs to go home to his wife and children.
Oh, whoops.
She strangles him in his sleep, ensuring that he'll never ever leave her.
Wow.
But before she's done, she takes a kitchen knife and cuts off his genitals.
I would like to go away.
She wraps them in her kimono and then goes to lunch.
What the fuck?
She later states, quote, I wanted to take the part of him that brought back to me the most vivid memories, end quote.
Okay.
So there's a lot to unpack here.
Did she put it on ice?
You're not going to love what happened to them. Anyway, let's just get into it. Let's just dive in. But you have to know that because it comes up frequently because it's a weird thing.
Really? It comes up frequently?
Well, it no longer comes up at all, but it's mentioned often. So I need to set the scene a little bit because we need to try to understand what's happening here. What led up to this moment of terror? So in the later half of the 1800s, Japan was growing and they were investing in different industries like silk and cotton and things like that. This means that women who were typically working on farms were starting to transition into working in factories.
Mm-hmm.
So by 1900, you have thousands of women working in factories. By 1910, you have 1 million. By 1920, more than half the workforce is women. But women working here are basically indentured servants.
Nice.
So typically a contract is drawn up at a young age. The family is given money. And then women have to work it off usually between 5 and 7 years.
Oh, my God.
And this job is not, there's no HR department.
No.
And like culture meetings, right? This is 14 hours a day, backbreaking work. You get physically punished if you slow down production or take a break or anything like that. Also, the women are unsafe because they're taken advantage of, and many of them are sexually assaulted in these environments.
No, I'm going to be Batman.
After their shift is done, then they're forced to stay in the dormitories, and there are very strict rules around these dormitories. They've got a bunch of women in a small space. They pack them in there. You have to share a mattress with whoever works the opposite shift as you. So you share a bed with a stranger, right? I mean, they're not in it at the time, but you get what I'm saying. And they have poor sanitation.
I'm sure.
It's overcrowded. They're not doing laundry in the way that they need to. So disease is doing really good. And women are dying from tuberculosis. They are also dying from complications to thiamine deficiencies, which affect their cardiovascular system due to poor diet.
Oof.
Yeah. So women are attempting to escape these situations either through death or they run away. But if they run away, they are chased and they're often captured and brought back. So if you don't work in the factory, that's option number one. Then the other most common option is to work in a brothel.
Great.
And the fathers are allowed to sell their daughters.
Nice.
To these establishments. Okay. Now, the practice would be done for families who were in pretty rough shape and needed the money because they needed to feed their family. But the practice would also be done for fathers who felt that their daughters needed to be punished.
Ugh, I hate men in that capacity.
Where they could not control their daughters or their daughters had done something that was not forgivable. So, Sada Abe, she was born on May 28th, 1905, right in the middle of all this industrialization, right? It's starting to boom. She's technically the 7th of 8 children, but she quickly becomes the youngest of 4 because 4 of the children die very young. 2 boys die of typhus, another of thiamine deficiency, and then the 4th died right after being born. So she really is the youngest of 4. Now, her family has a tatami business, which is their straw mat makers. And they also own some rental properties. Now, Sada's father, his name is Shingoshi Abe. He was adopted and he inherited this business. It's not known if he was adopted as a child or if he was adopted as an adult because it was customary to adopt adult males to inherit the business if they didn't have an apparent heir. So he has this business through this adoption. Now, Sada's mother, Katsu, was one of 4 girls who was raised by a single mother because her father actually died in battle, not as a soldier, but just as a civilian who got caught in a battle that broke out. So, like I said, Sada's the youngest, and she's much, much younger than all of her surviving siblings. So she is in this environment where she's both the baby and also kind of like an only child. Her older brother is 19 years older than her. Her second sister is 18 years older, and the closest sibling in age is 7 years older.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So the oldest son, Shintaro, was set to inherit the family business. That's how he's the oldest. He's the son. That's how it's supposed to go. But his parents disown him because he keeps getting into trouble. So when they disown him, this means that the second eldest gets to inherit the business, which is actually their daughter, Toku. She's supposed to inherit the business, but technically it's her husband that will inherit the business. So the family adopt a craftsman and he marries Toku. So Toku and her husband have the business. Shintaro doesn't. This is a lot of family drama, is why I'm telling you all of this.
Seriously.
Like Sada's a little girl growing up and there's a lot going on. Eventually, Shintaro will get married and then he steals the family savings and runs away.
Sounds like that's a crime for another day.
I'm sorry you were disowned, but maybe your parents were onto something. Right. So all this drama is happening. This is leaving Sada kind of to her own devices because her parents are trying to keep their business alive. And now they've lost all of their money. They have to pivot a little bit. Also, they've got their 3rd child, who is another daughter, Toruko. She started dating at a young age, which was not what she was supposed to do. Not good. Of
course not.
So she gets married very young. That marriage does not work out.
Oh, boy.
And so she comes home.
Oh no.
This makes her father so mad that
Yep.
he sells her to a brothel.
I want bad things to happen to him.
Well, apparently people were shocked at this because it was not one of those situations where the family was starving. This was a
Yeah.
situation of punishment,
There's a
right?
punishment.
Eventually, he buys her back, but she is not the same person after that,
Of
which
course
you can
she's
imagine.
not.
Yeah.
God.
So this is all happening as Sada's really young. And so when she was born, her father was already 52.
Wow.
He's checking out. He's
Yeah.
not interested in being a father in the way that maybe he had been for his other children. And then that wasn't going well for him
No.
at this time. A lot of chaos. But Katsu doted on Sada. I mean,
Oh, okay.
just spoiled her. So she's dressing her up, she's taking her around, she signs her up for singing lessons. Sada takes shamisen lessons, which is a 3-string instrument. It kind of looks like a rectangular banjo to me.
Cool.
A lot of girls who are taking these music lessons, it's in preparation to be a geisha.
Mm-hmm.
Because traditionally, geisha were entertainers. They were dancers, they were singers. The sex part wasn't always happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a geisha was very respected.
Yeah.
So Sada's not really interested in schoolwork, but she's really into music and she's actually very good at it. And so her mother just lets her do that and then kind of spoils her rotten. But when Sada was 15, she's got, there's a lot of stuff going on at the house. She is hanging out with friends who are maybe from not a great crowd.
Okay.
They're partying a lot. They're kind of rough. She's hanging out with them and she has friends who are a little bit older than her. She's only 15. So, 17, 18-year-olds. And one of those older boys actually rapes her.
No.
Sada's devastated. I mean, she's physically hurt. She's also ashamed because she thinks she's done something wrong. She runs home and tells her mother. And Katsu goes to the boy's house to talk to the parents, and the parents refuse to speak with her because she's not from the right part of Tokyo.
Fuck you.
Right?
I hate people.
So Sada is dealing with the trauma of being attacked
I don't like that.
during a time when being a virgin really matters.
Yeah, which is a made-up concept, FYI.
Really matters, yeah. So Sada believes that the path that she had seen for herself, which was to be a respectable wife and mother, is no longer possible. It was so extreme that when girls were about to be married, they would often be investigated.
Yep.
By
check.
By
I'll
the
never
boy's family.
forget in Memoirs of a Geisha that scene. I was like, this is very uncomfortable.
So Sada's only 15 and she's having to carry the weight. I'm sure she has some PTSD around this. Plus, she's carrying the shame of feeling as though she's dishonored her family, and her whole future has changed because of this moment.
There's so much that makes me mad about this. There's so many levels of terribleness.
After this happens, Katsu just says, just be quiet about it. Nobody will know. That's kind of Katsu's, which isn't great advice, but maybe not the worst advice for the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Sada starts acting out. She continues hanging with a rough crowd. She thinks, well, this is terrible. My life's pretty much over, so who cares? I'm going to do what I want. She starts stealing money from her parents, staying out late, going to the entertainment district of Tokyo, sneaking in and out at night. Basically, she wakes up in the morning. Katsu serves her breakfast in bed. And she leisurely gets dressed, puts on makeup, which is also like a little like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Risque.
And then heads out to go party and go to restaurants and things like that with her friends. Now, like I said, you'd think her parents, especially her father, would be all over this, but they are so preoccupied. This is the same time that Shintaro is acting up and taking all their money and running away. So they've got, it's a lot of work to disown somebody and they're busy. And I told you, Taruko comes back from the brothel. These family dinners must be tense.
Yeah.
They're trying to find her another husband. They're afraid that Sada will somehow ruin her sister's chance. I don't know if they think she'll be questioned or speak up or I don't know. I don't know if she's acting out in a way. So they send her away. So they decide that they'll send her to be a maid, which for a teenage girl who spends her days eating breakfast in bed and partying with her friends, I think this sounds like a good move. She's absolutely going to love being a maid to somebody else. Yeah, right. So she lasts about a month. before she can't take it anymore and she decides to hit the town. She dresses up in her employer's best kimono, takes some of their
Perfect.
jewelry, heads
Oh
out.
my God.
Yeah. The police quickly get her.
Yeah.
And her parents have
this is-
to pick her up and take her home and kind of like rescue her from this situation. The Abe family has Sada, who's getting into legal trouble. Shintaro's run away with all their money. They can't keep their business going. So they actually have to move to a more rural part of Japan,
Oh no.
which now Sada's incredibly bored.
Oh, I'm sure she can't go out on town.
Yeah, she starts running away with guys, for dates for the weekend.
Oh
Her
boy.
father becomes furious and he
Uh-oh.
threatens to sell her, but she begs him not to. So he does not. But then she just does it again. So he's like, all right, well, now that's what he does. He eventually sends her to a relative and asks the relative to make her a licensed prostitute. So at that time, you couldn't even be a prostitute by yourself. You had to have a man be an intermediary between you and the license.
I'm done. Get rid of them. Get rid of the men. Bye.
So she's sent to a relative who's this is confusing. It's her father's sister-in-law's husband or something. It's very confusing.
Sister-in-law. Wouldn't her father's sister-in-law's husband be his
Right.
brother?
But it's not his brother.
Or it's on the other side. Wait. Father's sister-in-law.
I feel like it's maybe a second marriage.
Okay. So
Like,
it's not blood. It's not a blood relation.
It's not a blood relative, which is going to become important because
no.
I feel like maybe his brother was married to a woman and then maybe his brother died and now that woman remarried and this is the new husband. Maybe. But I honestly don't know. This is like some weird riddle that I couldn't figure out. Anyway, it's some sort of distant in-law of a brother capacity and they're not blood related. So she gets sent to this guy. His name is Masataki. She gets sent to him. He sets her up being a geisha. And again, Sada is not totally upset about this because she believes a geisha will be performing and playing music and there's some status with it. But she doesn't enter this until she's later in her teens and all the other geishas have been training since they were much younger.
Oh.
So she's behind in her training. Plus, she doesn't really fit in with the other geishas. And she also is not great about discipline. We've learned that about Sada. Like she didn't rock it in school. She wasn't loving being a maid. So she can't really keep up with the training and she's already behind. And she ends up having to be a low-level geisha, which basically means there's no entertaining, there's no music at all. It's just sex work.
No. I don't want that.
Yeah. Sada on more than one occasion will ask Masataki to move her around because you can transfer. And keep in mind, every time she transfers or goes to one of these establishments, he gets money and they're getting paid for her.
I don't like this.
So he's constantly transferring her, but every time he transfers her, it seems to go a level down in terms of respectability. Just like the clientele isn't screened as well. Every time you go, there's like something a little bit worse. The clientele isn't screened as well. Doctors aren't as accessible like every time. And so
why does she want to keep moving if it's just getting worse?
I think she hopes it'll be better. So then in 1923, there's a huge earthquake and Sada has to move. 7.9 actually. Sada has to move with Masataki's family because he's technically responsible for her. And they're sleeping together at this point. She thinks they're in a relationship, but he does this with everybody he's an intermediary with.
Doesn't he?
Okay. As they move out of the city, Sada is more in their house than she was previously because she's not staying at the geisha house or the brothel. And she thinks that, like I said, they're in a relationship, but she soon finds out that they are not because his wife seems to know and doesn't seem to care because Sada brings them money. So the wife is using Sada for money and Masataki is using Sada for sex and nobody's really interested in her well-being.
I don't like this.
Right. So she starts stealing.
Good.
She eventually gets kicked out. Sada ends up getting an advance from another brothel so she can pay back Masataki the debt that she owes him.
No.
Yep.
Fuck off.
Yep. And
she
then
don't know anything.
And then she runs away and she's now in brothels. She's no longer a geisha. She's now in brothels. She's broken free from Masataki, right? She's still a sex worker. She's got a new gig. Shortly after that, she starts acting really strange. A doctor is called in to check on her because she's sitting in her room ripping her hair out.
She's probably had a mental break.
Doctor says she's having a nervous breakdown, but just give her the day and she can go back to work tomorrow.
No, that's not
No
how
problem.
that works.
So she goes back to work the next day. A client gives her a watch as a gift, and then it said she hit him over the head with it, which I have a hard time visualizing because watches are small, but
I mean,
I
you
don't
could
know.
like slap him with it.
Maybe she slapped
hitting
him with
over
it.
the head.
Either way, she attacks him with a watch, which was not great for business. So she's dismissed from there. She'll find out shortly after that she also has syphilis.
No.
Which may be contributing to some of her decision making because there is not a great treatment at the time. You can manage it, but you can't treat it. So for years, Sada is bouncing from one brothel to another. She's getting in trouble for gambling, small-time theft. She's having to undergo these syphilis treatments, and they're incredibly painful. It requires several injections. It's not like popping penicillin.
Yeah.
She also contracts typhus.
Oh my God.
She attempts to run away on several occasions. And each time she does, the brothel owners will threaten to hurt her parents in some way, financially, not
Jeez.
physically. She doesn't have a lot of options, right? She technically owes debt to these brothels, and they're looking for her. So she runs away, and she's on the run because she owes them back the money they've advanced her. And she tries to get out of the work altogether. In 1936, she gets work at a restaurant, and it's owned by Kachizo Ishida, and it specializes in eel dishes. So I'm all set, but throwing it out there. Now, Kachizo is married, so he and his wife, they have 2 children together.
Okay.
And they run the restaurant together. They interview her together, and she tells them not about her real job history.
That's smart.
But she does say that I'm married and my husband is about to go bankrupt, so I need to find work.
Interesting.
And so the couple hire her.
Okay.
Now, the restaurant is mainly run by Kachizo's wife, while Kachizo spends his days sleeping with women. So,
oh my God, the men in this story need to all line up and file off. Nope. Why did I say file? They need to line up.
Do some paperwork.
Oh, no, I got it. Line up, single file. There we go. And walk off a cliff. Bye. You're useless and detrimental.
Yikes.
Yep. That's how I feel. Rough. I hate men like this.
Well, remember the beginning of the story. So.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm coming around to that.
You were real grossed out at the start. She's working. And the real reason she's working here is because her secret goal is she thinks maybe one day she can open her own restaurant. So she wants to work
I love
here.
That for her.
No, I mean, maybe rein it in a tad. She wants to open her own restaurant, so she's like wanting to learn the ropes, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, Kachizo is pretty interested in Sada pretty quick, and they start having an affair. I feel like you had to know that was coming.
I know, but like...
So Sada's really into Kachizo. She loves him. I mean, from the get-go. He's not happy with his wife, and his wife had actually run away previously to be with another man for an entire year. So,
wow.
Yeah. So Kachizo's just kind of doing whatever he wants because she has no bargaining power because she did it one time. So he, to him, that's like, well, I can do it 1 billion times. Get out of here. Yep. So his wife finds out.
Some strong suit in math.
Yeah. Well, that's why the restaurant's not doing great, by the way. So the wife really doesn't have any course of action here. So she just talks bad about her husband to Sada, saying he has constant mistresses. You're no different. You're just another.
Got it.
You're just another woman to him. And Sada the whole time is thinking you're just a jealous wife who's trying to ruin this true love.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah. Kachizo is telling Sada that he does not love his wife, and he's also sharing details with her about the business, how it's not doing well, and really opening up to her, which creates a sense of intimacy that Sada's probably craving at this point in her life, right? But after the wife finds out, it does nothing except change the location of their affair. I think they were, I don't know if they were in the restaurant before or what. I don't know if the health inspectors weren't coming around, but they just go away now for days or weeks at a time. And they don't
Okay.
they don't even leave the bed when the maids come in.
Gross.
And I don't mean they're not sleeping. I just wanted to be clear.
Gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, why is the maid coming in at that time? Like, maybe read the room.
It's all day. Like, they've ordered something and the maid brings it up and like opens the door and just drops it off and they don't stop.
I'm done. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. You tell me about it. And the wife is at home running the business, which, like I said, is not doing well. Probably
With
because
her kids.
with her
They have
kids. Probably because Cachizo is spending all their extra money on these little sexcations. Yeah. The two start running low on funds eventually because, but Sada has another man on the side that keeps her as a mistress sometimes because when she wasn't at the brothel, she tried being a mistress, which was a better gig for her. So she would do that sometimes too because you just, you just got one or two and they take care of you. So she would go see this man who actually had a prominent career and he wanted to keep Sada secret. He was very private about it, but he was pretty nice to Sada. He would give her money when she asked without any exchange needed. He would just give her the money. And then she'd run back to Cachizo. But eventually, the wife, he's been gone for a long time. She hunts him down. She starts calling around to all the hotels and everything. She finally finds him and he has to go home. Sada is devastated. Cachizo heads home on May 7th. The timing is important. After he leaves, Sada is in an absolute downward spiral. I'm assuming she's not working at the restaurant anymore. I mean, I could be wrong, but she's missed a few shifts. She starts drinking heavily, and she's obsessing about their love for each other. And they're supposed to meet up again on the 14th, all right? So the 7th to the 14th. Okay. I'm not great at math, but those numbers are close, okay?
Yeah.
She can't wait. She starts calling the restaurant obsessively, and she has to see him. So they agreed to meet on May 11th. Now, when they see each other, Cachizo's in a nice kimono, and she gets mad because she thinks he's wearing it to dress up and impress somebody. I mean, I would argue he's seeing her, so maybe she's the one he's trying to impress, but she gets mad and she pulls a knife on him and threatens to kill him. And he laughs it off. So there were some red flags. They go after this knife incident, they just go about their day. They go to get drinks and dinner and things like that. And the whole time, Sada's grilling him. Were you with your wife? Did you sleep with your wife? Are you with anybody else? She's getting real jealous. And the two are together for days on end. They start experimenting with asphyxiation techniques.
I'm not interested.
That's as deep as I can go into that. Draw your own images. Yep.
No, I prefer not to.
At one point, Sada ends up damaging blood vessels in Cachizo's face from pulling the sash too tight around his neck. Okay. So his face becomes red and his eyes are swollen. And they go to see a pharmacist who tells them, you just need to rest. There's nothing you can do. You need to rest and let the body heal. Here are some pills to help you relax, but do not take more than 3 of the pills at a time. Okay, that's the dose. Obviously, he takes 5 right out the gate.
Perfect. Good job.
Yep. And math. Again, they're running. Math is really counting. Math is important, folks. See, it's really hurting him. They're running out of funds again, and so Cachizo's saying, "Well, let's go stay with friends." But she doesn't want to do that. She wants to be alone with him. But being alone with him costs money, and so he is getting frustrated. And he tells her, "Listen, we can't be together all the time. I have children. I'll have to go back." And this makes her really, really mad. But those maids show up with dinner. So they eat dinner. And Cachizo decides to take the rest of the pills, the whole bottle.
Why?
I don't know. Falls asleep because he's had 20 sedatives.
Oh.
Yeah. And Sada says as he's sleeping, she can't bear the thought of him leaving her. And she just can't see a way that they can be together because of his wife and children. So before the sun rises on May 18th, she wraps her sash around his neck and she strangles him. She states later that Quote, after I killed Ishida, I felt totally at ease, as though a heavy burden had been lifted from my shoulders, and I felt a sense of clarity. Then she goes downstairs. It's like 2 a.m. She looks around. Nobody's there. So she just goes back upstairs and lays next to his body.
Nope. What? No.
After a few hours of that, she grabs the kitchen knife.
Nope.
And then she cuts off his genitalia
No.
because she does not want his wife to touch it when they prepare the body for the funeral.
Oh my God, there's so many problems with that statement.
She then places something over what is now an open wound, but not before
Ew.
dipping her finger in the blood and writing Sada Kichi, only two of us, and then carving her name in his arm.
Oh my God.
She will also later admit to acts of necrophilia, but that's as deep as I can go. I don't understand. Mm-hmm.
It's a no.
Yeah,
it's a no.
Yeah, that's several thumbs down.
That is all the thumbs. They're down.
It's just infinite thumbs down. So she wraps the removed parts in a magazine cover, puts on Kachizo's underclothes to feel closer to him.
Nope.
And then she wraps the genitals and the knife next to her body, covers him with a blanket, tells the maids, don't disturb him. And then she goes to meet the other man that she was, a mistress for on the side. She goes to meet him, and she's apologizing profusely. He doesn't understand why she's apologizing. He has zero knowledge of this. He thinks she's apologizing because she's admitting that she's been with another man, which he's like, that's okay. I'm good. I understand it's a business arrangement. She's apologizing because she knows he's about to get swept up in some shit.
Oh.
And she had always valued his privacy because he had a pretty prominent career. She also goes to a secondhand shop, and she is wearing a black kimono, and she exchanges it for a lighter one, like lighter fabric one. I guess it was warm. I don't know.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the maids figure around by 2:30 in the afternoon that it's probably safe. Everybody slept enough, and they go into the room and they discover his body. It doesn't take the police long to be on the lookout for Sada because, one, she's been seen.
Her initials.
She signed the crime scene.
Yep.
And she was seen.
Tip number 1. Oh, right. By the maids.
Coming to the place with Kachizo before. So they release a statement asking the public to be on the lookout for a 30-year-old woman named Sada wearing a black kimono with spangled white crosses. They have also stationed police at all of the train stations, and they search all outgoing trains. They start searching hotels and pawn shops. They actually discover the secondhand store where Sada exchanged the black kimono for another one, but they don't. That's the end of that clue. Meanwhile, Sada's plan is death by suicide so that she can join Kachizo.
Okay.
She plans to jump off a mountain, but police are at every train station, so she can't get to the mountain as she intended.
She could hike.
Well, I think when you get to the mountain, that's what's happening. So 2 days after the murder, police are notified that a woman of about 30 years of age has checked into the hotel and registered under a name that Sada had been known to use as an alias. Oftentimes when you're in the brothels or things like that, you use a different name.
Like the police, Candy?
No, it wasn't Candy, shockingly. So the police first ask the hotel about the woman, does her appearance match? Yes. What has she been doing, right? Because if she showed up with a bunch of people, it's probably not her. She came alone. She immediately went to her room and asked not to be disturbed. And then she ordered a massage and a bottle of wine and asked that every available newspaper be brought to her. So the police are like, this seems like a pretty strong lead. They arrive at the room. Sada lets them enter, and the lead investigator says, I'm paraphrasing, but something along the lines of, I assume that you're here under a false name. And she says, yep, I am. And he just says, okay, well, what's your real name? And she says, I'm the person you were looking for. I am Sada Abe.
Good job.
That's it. And so she's brought in peacefully, and she has a note on her that reads, you are mine. I love you more than anything. You have now become mine forever. I shall soon follow you. And then it's signed with love.
No.
Yeah. So her interrogation lasts for weeks. The first night, she quietly is in her cell repeating, my heart hurts, my heart hurts, my heart hurts, and believes that she'll be given the death penalty. She fully cooperates and tells the police absolutely everything. Like things I don't even think that maybe you needed to tell. Like I think you
Yeah,
get the gist. You
maybe keep
probably
that
could
to
have.
yourself.
You could have maybe tucked that one away.
Ugh.
She also makes the claim that Cachizo told her to strangle him once he fell asleep. He said, "I won't feel a thing," which is interesting because he did take like 25 sleeping pills.
He did. That's
So
weird. That's a
maybe he
weird part.
did tell her to do that, but she still feels bad for doing it, even if that's true or not. She wishes that she hadn't done it. Her trial starts November 25th, 1936. She's an overnight sensation. She would have to go in an underground tunnel to the courthouse because so many people
Whoa.
were interested. There's a real good and evil portrayal of Sada Abe because there's a lot of women who are real interested in this. Like,
Yeah.
somebody who got revenge,
Right.
somebody who really, really let him have it. And then other people are absolutely, obviously horrified and disgusted. The trial is heard by 3 judges, and 3 judges are required when the crime is considered severe. She's like, I'm guilty. That's my plea. I know I'm guilty. And she had been examined physically and psychologically. She's believed to be sane enough to stand trial, but they're throwing around. I know
I feel like
they're
they're
throwing
on a ledge there.
They're throwing around diagnoses like she's a sadist or a nymphomaniac. The one that makes the most sense is that she had a mental break due to obsessive jealousy, which I was like, yeah, that might be the winner.
Yeah, but I think there's something before that. Like she's not been well for a
No.
while, I think.
Yeah, people later say the syphilis might have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
So even though Sada pled guilty, they still present the case, right? Because they have to do the sentencing.
Yeah.
So the police are presenting their evidence along with, which is mostly Sada's own interrogation, which she told them everything.
Too much.
But they're also bringing in evidence from the crime scene,
No.
which include
No.
Cachizo's genitals, which would later be unclaimed by his family. So they're put on display in a medical museum.
What?
Yeah. And then here's the part that I want to tell you about. They mysteriously disappear after World War II. Nobody knows where they are. They're gone.
What?
Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
Oh my God. Is there a hunt for them? Is there a whole mystery around them? Like, is this a whole side?
I don't think anybody's looking for them.
How?
But
I
I
don't
could be
know.
wrong. Yeah. How are they preserved? I don't know. Maybe in a bottle of gin. Like John said.
Sake?
Previous episode.
Ugh.
Unfortunately, the man that she was having the affair with, just like she predicted, his life is blown up and he has to resign from his job. And it said that he just became a monk after that.
Wow.
Yeah. So at least he gets good bread, right?
Hey.
Cachizo's restaurant, like his wife is running it still, actually starts doing really great because people are interested, as well as the hotel where he was murdered starts doing really great, particularly
what's wrong with people?
The room that he was murdered in.
No. Why? Who are these people? I don't understand them. I cannot relate to them.
They're probably the people listening, so you should wrap your head around it.
This is true crime.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I'm out, but it's interesting to think about. No. Oh gosh, that's where something that gruesome happened. Anyway, in December, Sada was sentenced. She actually requested the death penalty because she wanted to be with her lover.
Well, what is the method around then in Japan, I wonder?
Well, I don't know because the judge didn't give it to her. She was found guilty of second-degree murder and mutilation of a corpse. Check. And she was only given 6 years.
What?
I know. The judge stated that while Sada was clearly guilty, she was also a victim of society and circumstance. I'm paraphrasing.
I mean, preach, sister. But
he stated that
she's dangerous.
Cachizo was old enough to know what he was getting into, and he believes Sada had reached a breaking point and was unwell mentally.
Yes, I agree with that. All of the things he said. This guy's very wise. Like he actually sees the reality of the situation. Like she's been treated terribly and abused.
Yeah, and the public was like, yeah, no, that's fair.
This judge.
The public were like, no, I understand that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Wow.
So she goes
so reasonable.
She goes to a women's prison outside of Tokyo, and she actually is a model prisoner. She does really well. She's got some support. She's
Really?
got some routine. She's okay. After serving 5 years, Sada was officially released on May 17th, 1941. She changes her name and finds work as a maid, but soon she's found out who she is, so she's fired. Now, at the time, your most mentioned war is happening, right?
Yeah, it
World War
is in
II.
full effect right now.
Yeah, and it's very hard for Sada
I
to
can't
find work,
imagine.
so she actually becomes a mistress again.
Ugh,
And her
damn.
lover knows about her past. So brave
Wow.
man. Yeah. And he's okay with it. He keeps it quiet. She keeps it quiet.
What an idiot.
She was fine with him. She's also able to finally get true treatment for syphilis, which I think had to help. So penicillins,
Mm-hmm.
All the rage. But in 1947, a book was released about her case, and then people discovered who she was, and her new arrangement dissolves because the man who she's with is forced to break up with her because his family is just disgusted and terrified and, nervous. So,
I mean, that's fair.
yeah. In 1948, Sada decides to write her own autobiography because her whole goal being to portray herself a little differently than the other stories and articles where she's a depraved nymphomaniac who,
Yeah.
is just evil. She wants to explain that this is her take. She was a woman in love who made a terrible, terrible decision because she didn't know what else to do. She didn't understand how to get out of the situation or to make the situation work. And people interviewing her at the time, once her book comes out, they're actually pretty sympathetic to her. They are shocked at how ordinary she appears.
But okay,
I know.
if she just strangled him, I could hear that.
Really?
That's
okay for you?
I'm not supporting it, but I could hear more of like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm panicking. I don't want him to be with anybody else. I'm going to strangle him. Obviously, I don't support it, but it's next level to do what she did after that.
Strangling takes a minute.
Not if you're sedated, right?
I don't know. I've never strangled anybody, actually. So
I mean,
I'm going to try to keep that perfect record intact. But I would think it's
watch out, Brad.
I think it's a lot of work. So anyway, I get what you're saying. So, but they're like, she's just ordinary, and
she is not ordinary.
There's people who, she appears ordinary, right? That's always the case. Like when we talked about the Papin sisters, right?
Yeah.
They expect them to come in and just either be these vile creatures where you can see the evil,
right,
or to be at least like these oversexed women, and they just come in as like really boring, regular, plain women. And I think the same thing is for Sada, like, because the other thing that's happening, right, is Sada did a terrible thing, but it's also really attached to the fact that Sada liked to have sex with her boyfriend, which is just so taboo. And so it was a confusing thing for people to separate. Like, how could a woman has to be virtuous and, a virgin and things like that. And so if you're not that, then you're totally terrible.
Yeah.
Sada spends much of her time working in restaurants. And after writing her book in 1967, she actually opens her own restaurant.
Oh.
And she starts saving money to open more.
Look at her.
Well, then a man comes in and steals all her money.
Oh, boy.
Not even somebody she's involved with, just like a younger guy. Nope. Which is weird because that's exactly what happened to her parents. I was like, is Shintaro around? What's he doing? Why is everybody stealing your savings? Where is it hidden? Where are we putting this? So now she has to go back to being a maid. She's in her 60s. She's got arthritis. She's not interested.
That's hard.
She just disappears.
Into the forest.
She just leaves a note. She's like, I'm out. Some believe that she died by suicide. Others believe that she joined a convent.
That's always an option.
You really latch on to that, which shocks me. You always are like, I would be a nun.
I would. I mean, I'm not good at the whole religion part, but I'm very disciplined and I have great willpower.
But that's a huge part of being a nun. You like show up at the convent, you're like, listen, I'm not going to do any of the religion stuff, but I'll see you in the kitchen.
I'll take care of the gardens. I'll scrub the walls. Like, I will bake bread. I got this, girls.
Like, I just can't go to mass, but everything else,
I mean, I'll
I'm
go
there.
and take the Jesus cookie, but I don't think it's so. I don't think our space daddy would be okay with that.
You know what that means. Anyway, weirdo. So, but here's what's interesting. So people don't know what happened to her. They don't know if she's still listed as alive, but they don't believe she is. Flowers were left on Cachizo's grave until 1987. So some people believe that's when she died. This is a quote from Sada that I think, you started the story in one place, right? Which I
Yeah.
get. This is not a good thing that you did. But Sada says, these are her words, "My greatest regret is that people will misunderstand me and think I'm a lunatic. With regard to the question of me being a sexual pervert, I think if you investigate my past, you will find a clear answer." Right?
I don't think she's a pervert. I never thought
That's what she's saying. That's what she's saying. She's saying like people were acting like she was because she was running away with this man. And she's saying like, hey, take a look at my life, guys.
Yeah.
Maybe the way I was
forced
treated.
into all this stuff.
Yeah, I was sold by my father into prostitution, and this doesn't even get into the terrible things that I'm
No.
sure happened to her on just a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Being in a brothel, right? Like the terrible clients, the
I can't even go there.
abuse, right? And then she finally, this is what we talk about. You're so beaten and broken, and then you finally have happiness, and the thought of it going away just broke her mentally.
Mm-hmm.
She really went off the deep end there.
She did. She dove right in.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I was like wrapped in her
She did
kimono.
not have her floaties on. Yeah, I know. It was intense.
No, thank you. And the judge also said, I feel like her goal was to die by suicide, and we just interrupted her. Which apparently a murder-suicide is thought of differently than just murder.
Okay.
I don't know. So he looked on her more favorably for that. I don't know. But what are your thoughts? Got any last words?
I have a lot. One, I wish she had a cowboy. When this is in reference to the Tony Joe episode.
Which is a person's name, not an actual man on a horse.
He might have also been a man on a horse.
Sure.
But like a good guy who treats her well, loves her for who she is. She never really got that.
No.
2, it's really hard to be born as a woman.
Full stop, or are you talking Japan 1905?
Probably full stop, but especially back in the day. Like, I mean, men have all the control and they're pretty awful, and it's just so difficult. Like, everything's stacked against you. It's just not fair.
Again, 1905 or today?
Back in the day.
Okay. So you're not destroying all men currently?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Just some of them.
Just wanted to clear up. Yeah, of course. And there's some terrible people all over the world.
Yeah. 3.
Oh, there's a third. Excuse me.
It's a story. I'll do it real quick.
No, take your time. We gotta know where to be.
So this is a story from one of my friends when she studied abroad in Spain. And
this is for her. Like, you hope she's listening?
No, this is
about her.
She told me this story.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
And one of her friend. No. She wasn't studying abroad in Spain. One of her friends was studying abroad in Spain. Okay, so this is a friend. She's like going out clubbing, blah blah. Cool. She like made out with this guy, and like he wanted to like get her to go home with him and stuff like that, and like bring her back to his apartment, and she didn't. Luckily, the next day, there's a rash around her mouth. She goes to the doctor, and the doctor said that is a rash that people get when they interact with dead people. So this guy had been messing about with dead people.
Stop it.
And then
this is not true.
Yes, it is. It's
true.
No. This is absolutely true story.
No, something got lost in translation.
Necrophiliac.
No, something got lost in translation.
No.
Stop
They're
it.
all speaking English. I'm telling
something
you.
Something got lost in medical terms. Like,
no. Yeah. Like, imagine if you're that girl and you knew that. Like, I would probably throw up on the doctor.
What does that even mean? How do you have access to dead people enough to make out with
I
them?
don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. But like, imagine what else. Anyways, I'm so glad that my friend's friend did not go home with him.
I mean, I think what happened is bad enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's that story. I've never really wanted to go to Spain. That story didn't help. I've heard amazing things, but it seems like a very like meat and beer heavy place. And those aren't my things, but also yikes. That I probably learned that story too early to form this opinion of Spain, and just
don't hold it against Spain just because there's one gross necrophiliac there. Don't hold it against a whole country.
No, I know. I know it's a very beautiful place and stuff, but like, yeah.
Oh man, that story is gonna sit with me today.
Yeah, I mean, that story was told to me over 10 years ago, and I think about it a lot. It's
like, how does a doctor know this? I just don't believe it. I'm gonna need to see his medical notes. I'm gonna need to see her medical records. It doesn't make sense. How would he know that?
Because it's probably a certain bacteria or whatever of the face.
What did he do? Do a swab or a sample? Or he's just like, oh yeah, I've seen this before. Did you make out with somebody who was kissing a corpse? Yeah, we get that a lot. Here's some medicine. And then also, did she buy stock and like Listerine after that? And it was just mouthwashing for days. I need to go use mouthwash now. I'm so nervous. I feel like you just did to me what I do to you every week, and I'm not handling it well.
Yeah, how's it feel?
I don't love it. But look, isn't it fun to be me? Look at you're loving this, sicko.
Yeah, so those are my last words.
Yeah, you mic drop on that one. Dang. I have so many questions. I'm going to be Googling for a while after this.
You really want to Google that?
Yeah, you're going to be getting the things that I find.
No.
Yeah. So dust off your phone and put it on Ringer because it's coming. Getting so many screenshots after this.
No.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know what you think of Sada Abe, but you have empathy for her.
She had a mental break.
I think so too. I think she had a total mental break because she wasn't violent again.
Shit life. She had a shit life. She had a mental break, did something horrific, and then faded away.
But she needed to pay for what she did. Like, she should have been punished. It wasn't a mental break in the sense of like, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing.
No.
I wish that there was a little bit more of a closure to that story, but there just isn't.
No. Wow.
Yeah.
That was really intense.
It really is. And the other thing is kitchen knives aren't that sharp, which bothers me.
Japanese actually have some of the best knives for kitchen knives. They have
no, they have some of the best knives for this. Don't worry about it. She was fine. Just stay away from Spain and you're all good. Right, we're done here. It always goes really off the rails once we're done with this, the cases. All right, you know what? We're on social media somewhere. You can find us at
TeaTimeKinds.
Yeah. You can email us at
teatimekinds@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, and rate, review, subscribe to support the show. Please leave a review for Alana Freaks Out and Yells at You. And thank you so much for listening and taking this weird journey with us. Holy moly. All right. Thank you so much. Bye.
Goodbye.
You're such a great